Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lee. This is Reefer Explained. Today we're going to be doing a quick update on the REDSEA E-260, 69 gallons or 260 litres all in one with the converted REDSEA kit sump and REDSEA roller mat. But today we are talking about the kind of update for the 5-year mark in December, how things are going, what changes I've made, and the progress of the tank in general. So really this is going to go on the health of the system today, and what I've done to get to this point. So originally when I started this tank, I've gone through this, I started with dry rock and dry sand with some beneficial bacteria that was in a bottle, and cycled the tank for around 8 weeks. That broke the cycle, but I didn't introduce really any corals. I introduced a couple of fish, and I just had problems after problems with algae, blooms everywhere, diatoms on the sand bed, and it was a complete absolute nightmare, to the point where I was feeling like for the first two and a half years I was going to give up. Really what changed for me was obviously adding these corals, and then obviously adding a cleanup crew. It wasn't all at once, so adding the corals, which absorbed obviously the nitrates and phosphates for them to grow and take it out of the water column, and for those nutrients not just to stick to the rock area, and obviously be absorbed into algae, like green hair algae that I was having, and the diatoms blooms which just kept happening constantly. So I was siphoning the sand bed, doing weekly water changes. They eventually helped, and then I went to 2 weekly water changes. Now I'm at the point where I'm doing water changes every month, and the only way I've got to this is by testing. So everything on parameter wise, nitrates, phosphates, all of those are being tested a couple of times a week to keep an eye on those factors. Now the main thing for me out of this tank, because there's mainly gonies and alves, I've got a few SPS sticks, is that I'm having to keep a close eye on nitrates, which are around 5.6, sometimes dose a little bit to get them up to 6 or 7, and they naturally drop back down. I'm using some no-pox daily, but that is being dosed on a doser, and it's very little just to introduce those microbacteria to the tank, which will help, and that will be pulled out by the skimmer. Now this needs to be, for me, is running between 5 and 6 on nitrates and about 0.02 where it's comfortable on phosphates. Now the only way I'm checking for that is I was originally using a Hanlon checker and a Salifert test kit, which wasn't really giving me all the time accurate readings. I tried many different times. Sometimes I get readings, sometimes I wasn't, and then I was manually dosing phosphate to the tank. Now the issue with that is if the reading is inaccurate, then I'm dosing too much, and then it's going to cause issues in the tank, like that some of the corals might sulk, or I might have an algae outbreak. So with the phosphates and nitrates being in those parameters that they say the red fill ratio, so for instance I'm at 5.6 and 0.02 where they say you should be, everything seems to be running well. I've got no cyano, I've got no diatoms, no green hair algae anymore. The corals absorbing it on a daily basis, and then every 3 days I'm checking, 2 to 3 days I'm checking with the tester, the smart tester by Refactory, which is pretty accurate. So it's 0.02 on phosphates, and when it drops to 0.01 I start to panic and then add a little bit of phosphates. Now ideally I'm going to stick the phosphates shortly onto a Reef factory precise doser just for phosphates, and do very little, or I might just keep it off and then dose once I've done the manual test, and then I can add them that way, just so that I can do it anywhere remotely from when I'm away or abroad. That will give me total control over the phosphates. Nitrates will never really bottom out for me. Even if they're at 7 and they drop to 5, it takes quite a long time, and usually I'm back before that happens. Now with the roller mat and the skimmer, they're pulling out quite a lot of gunk, and the skimmer is working really well. I've emptied this a couple of days ago, so it wasn't full, but I always empty about 1/3 of the way just in case it ever dropped in there, like I was trying to get it off. It's quite stiff to get this this off the top of the neck from the max spec one. Now everything on the tank is doing really well. I've changed my bowl for the UV, as I've said, so in a nutshell, what I'm doing is keeping the alkalinity between 8.5 and 8.9, magnesium at 1350, calcium around 420, and then we are running nitrates at 5.6 and the phosphates at 0.02. Having to manually dose those to make sure that this system doesn't bottom out and cause diatoms or not diatoms, any REDSEA or algae issues. And that's, I think, part of the problem that I was having at the beginning, is that everything wasn't stable and it just wasn't doing really well. Now fish wise, I've only got the 7 fish in here. I've added no other fish because I don't want to introduce any issues with those fish and their health, and I think that's enough for them. They've got enough swimming sprays. I will replace snails and crabs as they die, but mine are doing really well. And the tank itself, as you can see, is doing really well. The back of the tank, what I've done is I wanted to add a structure at the back, like a tree, where I could add encrusting corals that wouldn't shade out the rest of the tank. So what I did was put a branching at the back and propped it up so that it would be stable. Now when these corals grow out and they encrust, they will look amazing across the back of the tank. And then I have no need for any magnetized coral plugs or anything that looks unnatural. I don't want to put any magnets in the tank that could potentially leach and rust out. So we're doing quite well on that front, and we're just keeping a close eye on it. The gonnies and albies I will add where I can, but at the moment they're really growing out and I want to give them enough space. The only issue I foresee is the 2 elegance corals at the back. These were 1 head, now they're 3. They're nowhere near anything else, so they can't sting. And with elegances, they do really well in sandbed. They do like to be fed once in a while, or at least some REDSEA AB+, or some meaty food. But if your fish lays in there or your crab, they will kill it and sting it basically for food. The same with this one over here. It's got a pink tip one. They're absolutely beautiful. I've had them for 4 years now. They're not difficult to keep, but they do like to be low down on the sandbed. Enough flow going over them and not too much sunlight, so for LED rays. So we've got a few zoas here. They're on their own island, and this is part of another piece that I got rid of originally, so got to keep an eye on these because I don't want them to outgrow and start spreading over anything else. And apart from that, well, that's all we're doing at this point, is a few encrustings on the back now. These ones will grow out. We've got another one here, and then we'll just take it step by step because we want these all to work well with each other. And I've got some space here for some more gonnies and albies. I've got a few specialist ones here. They're shorter ones, but the colours are absolutely amazing. This one as well is an Inferno. It's a long one, the green one. This golf ball one is really doing well now. I think it's called a Golden Nugget. Love these names. And they've got this one here as well. I think it's called a Cherry Blossom. It's absolutely amazing. It's taken about 3 weeks to come out like this. And I think keeping up with my phosphates and nitrates is really helping. If you've got any insight on this and you're not sure what I'm saying is correct, or you want to point me out, let me know, because obviously we're all learning in this hobby, and you know, I am learning from user error and kind of testing and watching what the tank is doing. We've got a little branching red and blue tip. I think this is like a stag or something. Sorry, it's an encrusting branching Monty Pora, I believe. We've got a beach bum here. It's doing really well. You can just about see it. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think on the tank, how it looks. What else should I do? I'm going to try and make room in the next 6 months for the smart tester for alkalinity. That's one thing I do want to keep an eye on next. I am using the Hannah checker daily, or every 3 days. It's a bit crazy, but I really want to get a alkalinity checker. So if Refactory are watching, I've got your thermal control, your pH meter, your thermal view, and I've got the smart plug tester. If you want to reach out to me on the alkalinity, I'd love to do a review on that and get one in here. But thanks for watching, and I'll be picking up a one of the dosing for the phosphates for refactory as well as soon as that comes out, so watch out for that video as well. And thanks for watching, guys, and I really appreciate the people that subscribed so far. Anything you want to know about the tank, what I'm dosing Nylos from a bottle, Nylos, phosphates and nitrates. As I said, phosphates every 2 to 3 days, but you must be testing with an accurate tester, and nitrates I'm only doing once in a blue moon where they're very low, and that bottle will probably last me about a year on the nitrates. With the phosphates, I'm going through quite a bit. So if you like the video and you like the content, please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one.